and welcome to Beads Jar. My name's Billy and today's project is the Square Stitch. This is the Aztec designed Square Stitch Bracelet I will be showing you using the slider ends as well. So I'll start by showing you what we're going to be using and then we'll get going with how to put it together. So what we have is our 8-pound fire line. Here are the slider bars that are going to go on the square stitch to attach the fastener, and they'll give it a really nice and neat finish when we come to put the fastening on. I've also got the miyukis size 11, and that will give us the perfect size and length for the slider bars. So I've also got on the table a pair of precision cutters, which are very useful for doing the finer work, especially with peyote stitch, square stitch, if we're going to do bezels. And I've got a basic pair of flat nose pliers for attaching our fastener when we complete the project. The other item I have is my size 10 beading needle. I've pre-threaded this one just to make the tutorial a bit easier for you to follow. And I would recommend starting with about 1 metre of thread. We will need more, but as the tutorial progresses, I will show you how to do a half hitch knot to connect extra thread. This will save you getting in knots as we go. Okay. So quite easily to start, you may have noticed I've got this bead, just a plain size 8 bead, and I'm just going to use that as my marker. So I'm just going to go straight through that with my beading needle. Oops. And I'm just going to take this towards the end of my thread. I'm just going to go back through with the needle. I've just gone twice through the bead, and that's just going to secure that at the end of the thread. Like I say, as our starter point. Okay. Now, one of the tips that really helped me when I started was to actually place this and use a little bit of sellotape so that it doesn't wiggle around too much. The starter for this square stitch, starting off, is the trickiest part, but bear with it and you'll see it progress. Now this is a part that I've been already making up to show you first. So this is the Aztec design I'm using with the colours that I've chosen. And this is what I'll be showing you how to weave. So we're going to take our beading needle, and onto this I'm going to place 10 of the seed beads. So here we have 10 seed beads. Do check that there's exactly 10 because we need that for the length. So I should have 5 and 10. So that's 10 beads on the needle, and I'm just going to take them up to my marker bead. So I'm just going to let them drop down. Don't worry as they move around at this point because that will happen, but we can even it all out afterwards. And this bead will come off. So we've got the 10 beads to start, and now I'm going to add my next bead. So I'm going to use one of the turquoise beads, and what we do now is we're going to take the needle through the first bead at the bottom that we added last. So we're going to go through that bead with the needle. I'm going to try and keep as still as I can to show you what's going to happen. I'm just going to support that bead as I pull that through. And you'll notice my wire, which is being naughty and looping around there now. As I pull that in, so now what you'll see, the wires coming through and back through that last bead. And we're just going to gently position it so it sits alongside the gold one. Now you'll notice it's off at an angle, but we now come back through with the needle again through the turquoise bead and up, and this will get it to sit parallel with the gold bead. Okay. So now, as you can see, these two are sat side by side. I'm going to take the next bead, and bearing in mind this bit we're doing the pattern that I showed you for the Aztec design. So I've threaded my next bead on. This one's going to be a gold bead, and I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go through the second bead. So the needle's going to go through, and then we're coming out to the side, and we're going to just support that while the wire comes through again. So I'm just pulling that tight, and that will sit alongside. Sometimes they twist a little, just be very patient at this part. Now you'll notice again it's not sat quite as wonderfully as we want, but as we come through again, so we're going to take our wire, it's fiddly at this point, and we're going to support that, and we're going to go back through that gold bead. Okay. And as it goes through, it will all tighten up, so don't worry if it's sat a bit loose at the moment. And we're basically building our stitch along. Okay. So I'm going to get the next part done, and as you see it grow, it will make more sense. So I've got another bead on there, and we're going to go through the third gold one on our row of 10. So I'm just bringing that back down. Okay, and then the wire comes across the two that were below. And then we're going to take the pin back through that gold that's not quite sat right. And we're just going to keep going with this row. Can really start to see it building up now. Next is a red miyuki. And this is going to go through the fourth gold bead. See how I've come out to the side? And we're pulling that all the way back through. The wire then needs to come across and up through the red bead. So I'm going to finish this row for you, and then I'll show you the next step, and this will really pull this all together, and you'll see it starting to really take shape at that point. So I'm on to my last bead, and that's the same one that I started this row with, which is the green, and that's going on the needle as well, and then through that last gold bead. Same way, so we go across and up through the green bead to finish that square stitch there. Okay, so now you see we've really made an impact and started the rows going together. What you now want to do is take the needle, and we're actually going to go back all the way through the first row with the thread. So just quite easily, we're just going to go straight through all that row with the beading needle. Now it's important to make sure the needle goes straight through. So can you see there it just poked out to the side? We don't want that to happen. We want it to go, make sure it goes all the way so there's no needle sticking out. And then we're going to come all the way down. And we're going to go back. So we've come down this one. We're going to go up through the second row we added on. This will really help because it makes it more rigid and keeps all your tension correct. So it's gone up through those, and then we're going to pull up and out through the top. Okay. Now for ease, I find it easier to take my sellotape away, and I'm actually going to work from the bottom to the top again. So I've just swapped siding round, and now that one's going to sellotape that side, and I'm going to proceed with my next row. So we're going back to our design, so another green, and we're going to go through the second row and the first one at the bottom. Exactly the same method that we've just done, so pulling that alongside it, and then we go back up through that bead, and that's starting our third row there, and then on to your next one. Through the second bead. Oh, it's been a little tricky one, this one. Right, there we go. Second bead. Pull that up. And then we bring the cord across and through again. And keep continuing, and as you'll see it start to really grow. So I'll be showing you how to connect more thread and how to attach the fasteners as we progress. So as you can see, we've progressed quite far with our Aztec square stitch design. This is the half hitch knot and how to finish. So I was starting to run out of my thread because I've not got much left. Firstly, what I'm going to do after completing that row is secure these two. So I'm just going to run all the way down that first line. Make sure the needle doesn't pop out anywhere, either back or front. Straight down. And back up again. Okay. And now what we want to do is go back through the first two, or any ones you choose really. I find it easier to do the first two top ones. And I'm going to go under the thread. So I want to catch one of the threads that was on the next one across. So you'll see my loop of wire come down there. So I'll slow that down. So you've got your loop and you're going to go back through. So basically creating a knot. And you want to do that about twice. And when you've pulled your knot, if you go back through the whole stitch, so I'm going to go all the way through, and that will hide that any messy kind of knot inside and away. So you want to do that twice, just to make sure it's really nice and secure. And when you're happy with that, you're going to take your scissors and just trim that away. Nice and close. So to attach more thread, you're going to do the same. So I'll just show you that process. So I'm just going to get a bit more of my fire line off to be able to continue our weave. So I'm just going to re-thread my needle. Okay, so I'm going to go up and through one of the stitches. As the loop of the thread draws in, that little sneaky one's just come through, but we can just pull that back. There we go. So as we've got our loop there, then you're going to take your needle back through to complete the knot and pull firmly to get that knot right down, and then back through to hide that as well. Through there, and that will secure that nicely and neatly. Okay. Now I'm going to take that through those three top ones, and you can start again. So it's all attached now and it's back to your weave, so the pattern that we were doing before. So you can just carry straight on. So the next row's here. Exactly as what we've been doing all the way along, going through and then back up. And that will bring us nicely onto how we finish our bracelet. Okay, so you've come to the end of your square stitch and you're ready to now attach the fastener. So as I mentioned before, we've got these beautiful slider ends which fit perfectly onto this design that we've done. So I'm going to show you how to use these first. I would start by holding and folding one of these sides. So just using flat nose pliers, and you're just going to fold that down. And that's going to seal one of the ends. We can always tighten these up afterwards. Oops. So just folding that in, and then we can just slide the other side up. We're going to just take away our thread here. Don't need that anymore. And then hopefully, once you've done all that lovely hard work, this should just slide straight down and perfectly onto the end. And obviously that's secured on both sides there. And then we're going to fold this side in as well, so with the flat nose pliers. And it just gives such a fantastic, neat finish to your project. Just tighten that a little bit more. And the same on the other side. Pre-prep this end. So you'll notice I'm holding on just to the tip and then folding down with the pliers, and you can just squeeze that in afterwards to make that really nice and flush with it. And slide that on. You'll notice then I just flipped it round, so from this side when I've put the slider on, just turn it over and it makes it easier. Whether you're left or right handed, obviously turn it to the side that's most comfortable for yourself. So what we now have are our two ends finished. And we're going to connect these with a fastener. So we've got a clasp here. So I'm just going to open my jump ring. It's nice and easy. Keep the top of the ring facing upwards. And then take a second pair of flat nose pliers, and you're just going to gently bring one side towards you and push one away to open the jump ring. Like so. And then we're going to go through slider bar and connect our clasp through the loop, and then we want to secure that again, so we're just going to reverse how we opened it, so push one away and bring one towards you. A little bit of an overhang there, let me just correct that. And that perfectly joined. After all that hard work making the beautiful bracelet, we don't want the fastener to come off. And then jump ring. And close. And there you have this beautiful finished Aztec design square stitch bracelet with a fastener. I really hope you've enjoyed that project, and I'd love to see what you create with your square stitch. So share it with us, and subscribe now to our YouTube channel and keep up to date with our next projects. See you again soon. Bye!